Good morning. So this morning we are in a little county park. I believe it's called Amicalola County Park. I'm going to talk a little bit about my preparation for choosing parks. And mainly I want to talk about this because of the fact that I've gotten myself into trouble a couple times. So a couple of things I do to prepare before we go into a spot is I call them and ask several questions. Some of those questions are, obviously, do you have availability? I also check on the price to make sure that it's the same price as what they're telling me online, because sometimes I'll use all stays and the price might vary a little bit, but most times it's right on. Another major question that I ask from now on is the length of my rig and is there any issues with me getting in there? Now, the reason I ask this is because the last time I asked this, I was told by two rangers, yes, you should get up there, there's no problem. It was up a steep hill, and that was in Tennessee. It was about a 15% grade for about 3 miles. And my truck overheated, and we got on the side of the mountain, had to wait for about 30 minutes. I found a lookout spot that was just barely big enough for me to turn around. I turned around and then had to go down the mountain, which then ended up overheating my brakes. Had to put the truck into 4 low and let it creep all the way down. But the reason I bring that up here is because I called again. I asked them, I said, hey, is there any issues with me getting my truck and the length of my rig down in there? And the guy, he did tell me there is a steep curve. He said, so you just have to be careful when you're going down it. I also did look up the Google Maps. That's something else I recommend that you do. Look it up on Google Maps. Look at the elevation of the park, because that'll give you a lot of indicators as to how steep and whatnot. So when I got here, luckily, there was a man that was mowing the grass, and I thought he was the camp host, and he sure enough was. And he said, yeah, he said, here's what you need to do. He said, you need to stay to the right and then go to the left and just be careful going down the hill and go slow. And I thought, okay, but here's the thing. People can tell me one thing, that I should be fine, but in my mind, whenever I first see it, it's like, oh my goodness gracious. I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about. And I'm sure that my camera's not gonna do justice, but when the road disappears, you know it's steep. But as you can tell, it goes downhill, makes a big switch back to the right, and then it goes on down and makes another big switch back to the left. But I am leaning back, walking down this hill. If you're a newbie like me, do your homework, ask questions, ask them if you can get in, ask them how steep it is, ask them if there's anything that you need to be aware of. And then don't take the chance of getting yourself in danger, hurting you or your family, or even damaging your rig. It's just not worth it. So now I'm gonna head back, have some coffee. It's a beautiful spot here. It's right on a little bit lake, but anyway, I'm gonna have some coffee and start this morning off right. We're gonna go see a waterfall today. I don't even know how to pronounce it, but that's what we're gonna go do. And hopefully whenever I figure out what it's actually pronounced, I'll let you guys know. So today we are at Amicalola Falls State Park. So this is a no-no. We were gonna stay here at this park. Well, possibly. I called, got information about it, and talked to the lady. She said, oh yeah, we can fit you in. Told her the size of my rig and everything. My next question, how steep is it getting in? She goes, oh, it's about 25% for 2 miles. No thanks. I told her I would probably pass just because of the size of my rig and the weight. And she said, well, we have had several people get stuck on their way up the mountain. So it always pays big time to ask questions. This is a question you need to be asking. I'm gonna try to do a time lapse to kind of let you guys see exactly what it's like. So, you know, it really wasn't as horrible as what I thought it was gonna be. However, I wasn't pulling my fifth wheel. So my truck just climbed it no problem. It was steep, did have some hairpin turns in it, but you know what, it wasn't that bad just being the truck. Definitely wouldn't pull the fifth wheel up here. And coming up is just half of it. Then there's also the part of going down, so which we'll talk about in just a moment. But in the meantime, check out that. So we came up here, check out this Amicalola Falls, and it looks pretty nice so far. And apparently they have a whole lot of stuff to do up here, but we just came up here to see the falls. Maybe let the kids play in the creek if that's allowed.
So many rules.
Rules, rules, rules.
But we were made to break rules.
Rule breakers. Like right here.
Please obey all signs and remain on marked trails and structures. Already, look, we are already breaking the law. All right, kids. Yeah, they're not on the trail. It's tough for us to obey the rules whenever we have 4 kids.
Hey, look. It's over here.
Yeah, I darkened out my face just so you could see this amazing view behind me. It is absolutely spectacular. That is the falls. And we did bring swimsuits just because we thought, maybe we can let the kids play in the creek, but this is obviously not going to be the place for that. Right now we are currently at the top of the falls. Now you can take these stairs down, and it has different platforms throughout the areas where you can stop and take pictures of the falls. And if you want, you can take this all the way back to the visitor center. Now what we're gonna do is, just because we have all the children, we are not gonna walk down. We are gonna hop back in the truck. We're gonna drive back down to the visitor center where we began this trip. And then we are going to walk up from there to areas where we can get better pictures, where it's not gonna be as steep and where we don't have to go down and then come back up. All right, so I am gonna drive up into the campground just to kind of see what it's like, what they have. I wanna see if there's really any other big rigs up in here. I would be impressed if there would be. And I'll let you guys see a little bit of it too, in case you're ever curious what the state park campground looks like, in case you ever wanna make the drive up that 25% grade. All right, so after driving through there was absolutely no way that I would have put our 38-foot fifth wheel up here. It was way too tight. The road was way too small. Now, if you want to come up here and camp, looks like most of the people up here were tent campers or had very small campers, like under 20 foot. Otherwise, if you have anything bigger, I would not suggest coming up here. I don't know what it says on all stays. I can't remember. I want to say maybe it says 24 foot. Yeah, and that, if that's it, that would probably be right. Now, we're headed down this 25% grade. What I'm doing is I am got the truck in tow haul mode, even though I do not have the fifth wheel with us. But I'm gonna let the truck slowly go down without having to use the brakes. At least that's the idea. We'll see how that goes. It should work that way. Should be to where all I have to do is press on the brake a couple times, the truck downshifts, and then we just slowly go down the mountain. Right now, that's not really happening.
What? I'm not even paying any attention.
I've got it in tow haul mode, but it's not going down into tow haul mode. It's not downshifting.
You don't have it in four-wheel drive.
Well, I don't have to have it in four-wheel drive.
Oh, I thought you had to have it in four-wheel drive.
I was just wanting to have it get into tow haul to where it would use the exhaust brake, but it's really not doing it quite yet. And I'm having to hold the brakes right now, which I'm not really excited about doing.
because I keep picking up speed.
Well, just get yourself excited.
There, I think it finally kicked in a little bit.
We're still going.
Still picking up speed. This is not working. So I don't have the tow haul mode quite figured out yet.
Oh, that's funny right there. I don't care who you are. Making memories.
All right, well, so much for just, yeah. So much for me wanting to go down this mountain without having to touch my brakes. That is not working.
Well, at least our brakes work. Look at the cup half
The
full.
brakes do work. I wish the tow haul mode would kick in. All right, well, we made it down.
We don't have anything, Jason.
Tow haul mode does work. I just don't know how it works.
Obey your parents and the Lord for this.
Check out that huge tree. Cameras never do justice on how big something is until you put a person up next to it. Go down there and try to hug it.
Yeah, Grady, that's right. That's the roots.
That thing is big.
Yes! Squad! I'm sorry. The waterfall!
175 steps. So. Don't know if you can hear me, but we made it up to the falls viewing point. It's a large little area here. And look at that. That is amazing. We came at just the perfect time. As you can tell, the sun is setting, and I think the lighting is absolutely perfect. We've always wanted to go to Hawaii, and I told her on the way up here, I said, this feels like Hawaii. Because the tall trees, all kinds of just vines growing everywhere, and this waterfall is something I feel like you would only see in Hawaii or some magical place like that, tropical place like that. It is absolutely breathtaking. All right, well, it's 8 o'clock. We have not had dinner yet, and now we have got to make this descent down, back to the truck, and get some dinner. So while I've got a little bit of light left, listen, you know, when it comes to taking your rig up very steep grade or down very steep grade, you have really just got to watch it, prepare, know what you're doing, know what your vehicle can handle, know the weight of your vehicle, know the length of your vehicle, know how many hairpin turns there are, switchbacks. I am by no means an expert when it comes to towing. I am a newbie at this. So all of my tips and advice is coming from a newbie's experience. Basically, you've got to do your homework. You have got to know ahead of time what your vehicle is capable of doing, how much your vehicle weighs, and then if you're going to be going to a specific campground that's in the mountains, you better be asking questions. Talk to the rangers, talk to the people who work at the campground, ask them questions about the area if your vehicle can handle it, if your vehicle can fit into it. Because you do not want to be going up a mountain like we did last week on somebody's word that we could make it, and I didn't do my homework. Sorry if we're losing lighting. I am getting into the woods now and it's starting to get dark. So I guess this will be where I'm going to end it. Thank you guys for checking out today's video. If you are climbing up in the mountains with your rig, just be safe. Make sure your brakes are good. Make sure your truck is good. Oh, make sure your trailer brakes are working too. That'll save you a lot. If you like this video, please give us a thumbs up. If you have any questions, leave us a comment. And if you want to follow us, make sure and hit that subscribe button. Thanks, guys. Okay, don't know if you can see that. That is a copperhead. I just about stepped on him, no joke. No joke. About stepped on him. Oh my goodness gracious, scared the dickens out of me. Oh, I'm shaking.